President William Samoei Ruto, together with his team, have embarked on a plan to try and win back the support of Kenyans in a bid to recapture and defend his seat in 2027. But ladies and gentlemen, as the president sits together with his team to try and salvage his image, the stinking reality of rejection and rebellion from all the corners in this country has fallen right on his face. And this is because the president built his relationship with Kenyans based on a solid rock of lies. Like a marriage that has been built on lies, he had to maintain it with lies. The problem is that Kenyans began to grow impatient and they could no longer wait. So they've started unveiling all the lies. Now, William Ruto decided to react and pounced on them like a lion with brutality, killing them and muzzle them not to talk. Now, the other reality that William Ruto is facing is that when he realized that he had been cornered, especially by Gen Zs, he decided to make what looked like a makeshift solution to a permanent problem. He decided to bury his head in the sand. Now it's getting to the reality that bringing Raila to his side is no longer a solution because Raila and Ruto have got nothing new to offer Kenyans. And in this video, I want to show you how both William Ruto and Raila Amolo Odinga are stranded and staring at each other in State House because there is nothing new they can offer to Kenyans, and they are now trying to revive their lies and trying to revive the old mentality and the old method of dealing with the Kenyans. But they have faced a very shameful backlash. Ladies and gentlemen, I want us to look at this deeply because there is no any window of opportunity for William Ruto to win the 2027 election. Before that, allow me to present to you, as we always do, this lady who was widowed just a few months ago, and she's now stranded with her child at home. The child is a Form 2 student, and people are about to begin exams. The boy is at home. We pleaded with the administration to allow him take his exam, and I promised that we would do something before the end of this week so that we don't interfere with his education. And the mom is also requesting for some support. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly listen to the situation, and I know God will speak to your heart to help. Kindly listen to it. So, Mama Peter.
Yes.
Asante kwa kutukaribisha hapa. Hebu ongea na sisi kidogo. Uongee kwa sauti kidogo.
Sawa, karibu sana. Mimi naitwa Mama Peter. Ningewaomba, mimi nilikuwa na mzee lakini akafariki, ilikuwa ghafla. Na venye ilikuwa ghafla, maisha ikatulemea, katafuta nyumba kama hizi. Na mimi hufanya kazi ya kufua. Lakini kwa saa hii kazi iko chini sana. Juu kazi yenye tunafanya huwezi pata ya kulisha watoto, kulipa rent. Sasa chenye ningeomba tu nisaidie nipate pesa ya kulipa nyumba, sababu nyumba nayo nimedaiwa miezi 4 sijalipa, na ni kama tunataka kufukuzwa. Ningewaomba kama tu ningeweza nisaidie nipate ya kulipa nyumba na ya kupeleka mtoto wangu shule. Kwa saa hii aliambiwa asirudi shule bila school fees. Kama ingewezekana nipate na nifungue kabiashara kidogo ili niweze kulisha watoto.
Sasa, so Mama Peter says there nyumba anadaiwa mwezi 4. I think tukipata kitu kidogo tumfungulie biashara ataweza kulipa nyumba yake. So that is our request. And then Peter, apate kitu kidogo ya school fees, tushike pita, kwa sababu hao ndio future generation, na akiachwa hivyo, unajua sasa hivi venye dada yuko, maisha itawalemea. So I trust that we are going to do it, and may God bless you even as you plan to give. We are only doing a 50 bob challenge. Ile 50 bob uko nayo, ile kitu kidogo uko nayo, ili tuweze kusaidia hii familia. Ladies and gentlemen, the president and his handshake partner Raila Amolo Odinga thought that we are still maybe in the 80s, or let me bring it closer, that we are still in 2022, where let me talk of William Ruto, who gathered the youths of this country and told them, nyinyi ni mahasla, I'll build an economy for you. The president promised quite a lot. Someone summarizes it that he promised heaven and he realized that he could not even deliver hell. Now, what the president is now saying is that some people are telling me that I overpromised, but I intend to fulfill every promise that I made. They've realized that Kenyans are unveiling all the lies. So he has decided to try and hoodwink us again, that he still has a program for us. Can listen to President William Samoei Ruto. Please like and share this video. Subscribe and click the notification bell to give us that needed support. This is the president.
Najua kuna mimi nimelaumiwa sana. I've been accused of overpromising. Sindio? Meambiwa na watu wengi, wewe umepromise kabisa Kenya, ulipromise. Mimi nataka niwaeleze, it is not overpromising. We are raising our ambition as a nation. Unajua kwa muda mrefu tumekuwa tunakaa hapa average. Hapo average. We must stop being average. Yes, we must strive to be better and excellent. That is my mission. And I want to tell you, every promise I made, I intend to keep it in my term. Mnanielewa? Ile yote wale wananiambia nili overpromise. Hata kuna askofu mmoja alinitembelea akaniambia, unajua sasa pengine hii maneno ulisema tu ndio uchaguliwe. So ujipange vile unaweza kujiondoa kwa zingine. I have no such intention. I intend to keep every promise I made, because I believe in Kenya and I believe in the ability of this nation to be better than what it is today. Hii nchi imechelewa miaka nyingi kwa kukaa hapo kwa average. We must stop being average. We must do better than that. And we are going to pool ourselves together ndio tuweze kubadilisha nchi yetu. Na mimi nataka niwaambie wale wote ya kwamba yale nilisema kuhusu uchumi wa Kenya, I meant it, and it is happening. Our economy is growing, and the numbers speak for it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, when the president tells us that we cannot afford to be average, that we need to aim higher, the question is, are we aiming higher on promises and lies, or aiming higher on implementation of the Constitution, respect to the Constitution, and trying to be just good enough to implement the very little that you promised? Now, if you want to know the seriousness of this matter, the president says he intends to implement every iota of a promise that he gave to us. Now, this is the question. The president promised us that he would not take any loans. And he really criticized his former boss, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. The president has taken more loans today. The president also promised that his government would not unleash the police on his opponents or competitors or his critics. But today, very many youths have been killed, so much that the relationship between the president and the youth is a sour. Kindly listen to the president promising, then we will be asking questions. If you say you intend to implement every promise. What about this?
It is true, we have lost many Kenyans because of extrajudicial killings. It is also true that we have lost many Kenyans because of political assassinations. And I made a commitment to the people of Kenya that there will never be, and let me say this, as has been said here by others, for the avoidance of doubt and without any fear of contradiction, there shall never be again extrajudicial killings or political assassinations. There shall never be another occasion where we have bodies of Kenyans in Rivayala. It will never happen again. Not under my watch. For the record, Kenya Kwanza will not continue the borrowing spree that we have seen that has ballooned our debt. In the last 5 years alone, close to 7 trillion Kenya shillings has been borrowed. I want to tell the people of Kenya, Kenya Kwanza will focus more on investments, more on labor-intensive infrastructure.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the president says he will revive the economy, maybe ataosha Nairobi River, maybe kuna hiyo affordable housing na vijana wataenda hapo kufanya kazi. I mean, wengine wanapelekwa nje. What about the promise that he would not unleash the police on us? What about that promise? Youths have been killed. So when he tells us to give him time to implement every promise, what about that promise? Because right now he's using the police. The police is killing the youths. He does not want to listen to any critic, together with his clique of the brutal men that are running this country, murky men. What do you tell the parents? You know, parents can listen to you when you tell them, ngojeni tu kidogo, hii economy, we will turn it around. But when you have killed, and then they listen to, because these days I told you, social media and technology has really exposed and opened our eyes. It is not like we were before. Of course, this is the reason why William Ruto wonders why his predecessors, like, let's talk of Mwai Kibaki and Uhuru Kenyatta, did not have a lot of hard time like today. The truth is, there were critics then. The Kenya National Human Rights Commission, Law Society of Kenya, you know, human rights activists used to complain. But the level of the technology that we have is much higher. And the information reaches on our tables very fast. And you can see him talking without blinking that he will revive. Sijui Kenya imechelewa. He wants to make hard decisions. He also told us he will not take loans. You've seen it within the very little period that William Ruto has been the president of the country. I believe he's almost surpassing his predecessor, if he has not surpassed. And I'm sure if you compare the first term of President William Ruto or Kibaki, the first 2.5 years or 3 years, you compare that to the first 2.5 or 3 years that William Ruto is in power, then you know that William Ruto has negated the promises and he's doing exactly the opposite of what he told us. My problem is some people are clapping when the president is talking, meaning that this time round we will have none to blame. We will blame ourselves. Do you know why? Being hoodwinked for the first time is not a crime, even though we knew very well that William Ruto is was a very cunning leader right from when he was the deputy president. He used to lie, quote some wrong Bible scriptures. People were warned, but some subjected themselves to the lies. He cheated them, he lied to them. They elected him. Today, you can see William Ruto coming with the very, very old tactics. When he tells us we will revive the economy, when he tells us he intends to implement and to obey and respect every promise. Look at him. He's building a church in State House. Whether it is building or improving or facelifting, I don't know. He says he got some structure in form of a church. But he tells us he will use his money and he has got no apologies to make. And we know very well that this is an attempt to reinvite the church into this national political discord so that the church can also be engrossed in it. Because there are people, matters religion are very emotive. So this time around, you try to ask William Ruto, you try to ask questions. Is State House your property? Why are you building it with your own money? Then some people tell you, oh, you are an antichrist, nyinyi hamjui kazi ya Mungu, and you will see the church blindfolded as usual will start running towards William Ruto. Why? Ruto ni mcha Mungu. And this is the same thing that he did in 2027. The church is going to fall into this trap. Trust me. They're going to fall into this trap. And it's reviving that old method. His partner, the handshake partner, Raila Amolo Odinga, is also lost of any new idea to this generation. So what are they saying? Tuongee. Muongee nini? The constitution is there. We've had the NADCO report and the 10-point agenda. They're not talking about it. You wonder, do we talk about killing the people? When William Ruto himself has said, hakuna kuwa watu. It is in the constitution, the sanctity of life, the respect to sanctity of life. They want us to talk. Another old mentality, another old school method. The problem is that Kenyans are going to fall right in it. You will see this very urge. And leaders are going to talk about it, tuongee kama nchi. Hii itatupeleka. As we forget about the real issues in the country. I saw Ruto's son, I think it's called George, who organized for a party, and I think it involved some matatus there. He's in the matatu business. He's trying to woo the youths. And when you listen to them, there are some youths who are falling into this trap. Ladies and gentlemen, if we are not careful, we're going to fall into the trap. Ruto is going to be re-elected again. He's dishing out money. People like Oscar Sudi are, walking around with millions of shillings. The reality is, William Ruto has sensed defeat. And he knows very well, together with his team, that there is no chance for him. But I don't know what's wrong with Kenyans, because there's a majority that has rejected. And you can see there, if you go to the social media, they unveil, they show, they revive, they revisit the lies, all that he said. Oh, tutatenga, tutafanya nini, akina mama watapewa, sijui diaper nini. And they try to help Kenyans to understand, to wake up and see what is happening. But just like the colonial period, there were collaborators. Today, we have Kenyans who will collaborate with William Ruto, collaborate with the broad-based government, and they will vote for this government. Then the pain of living with bad governance for another 5 years will dawn on us. And then tutaanza, within 1 year, Ruto must go. Ladies and gentlemen, let us wake up, because I like the fact that people are beginning to realize that we were lied to. They are rejecting. 2027 is a year, and we have a date with the destiny. Your own destiny, because you have it in your own hands. The choice is yours. You play around with it, or you make the right decision, because choices have got consequences. The truth, and let me remind you, Ruto and his group knows very well that there is no chance unless you fall to the trap, unless you swallow the lies, like some church members will do, some youths will do, some parents. But if we wake up and decide, Gen Zs, you've got the numbers. Let us wake up.